down there in Jacksonville, Texas. All right, these are I am statements. So I am happy, I am healthy, I am beautiful, I am talented, I am confident, I am strong, I am successful, I am wealthy, I am fearless, I am a giver, I am a leader, I am a helper, and I am powerful. Like that. All right. Get Love it. Start our day off with positivity. This is a recap of yesterday. We kind of touched on credit scores and how they can, how you would associate it with your report card, you know, at grade levels. So obviously A+ is where you want to be in adult world with your credit. And you would want to be in an A in your subjects on your report cards as well. So we went through these comparisons yesterday. And then also we gave a quick overview of the most important factors or behaviors related to having a good credit score, payment history being number one, and of course, how much you owe on your credit cards and your loan balances. Those have the two largest impact on your credit score, 65% combined. So those are very important factors, obviously. So just a quick recap from yesterday. We were going to do a brain break. Just some interesting facts. You know, again, we're on a recording, so I'm going to run through some of these things to keep things exciting. Fun fact, Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb, was afraid of the dark. Fun fact, the average office desk has 400 times more bacteria than a toilet. Wipe your desk down, ladies and gentlemen, frequently. Walt Disney, creator of Mickey Mouse, was afraid of mice. In Singapore, it is illegal to sell or own chewing gum. What a weird fact that is. Who knows why that's all about? Maybe there were too many people spitting gum out on the streets or something. Who knows? I don't know. Let me get her back in here. American Airlines saved $40,000 in 1987 by eliminating one olive from each salad served in first class. Man, olives are expensive. And it is impossible to sneeze with your eyes open. Go figure. Somebody researched this stuff and this is what they came up with. So I thought it was interesting facts to share. All right, so I will introduce our fabulous instructor for today, Ms. Jean Burke. Jean Burke is the author of the award-winning College Prep Genius program and is a frequent Fox News contributor who has been featured on numerous television networks, radio shows, and has been published in various magazines. Wow, that's tremendous. Both her children were homeschooled and earned incredible scholarships that included free college, room and board, study abroad stipends, free grad school, and free law school because of their standardized test scores. I mean, this is amazing. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings to Ms. Burke by having these kids at that education level with their testing. That is tremendous. She has taught students how to ace these tests all over the USA and other countries. She is a sought-after speaker who equips, educates families on how to navigate the waters of college prep. Her company's College Prep Genius, the no-brainer way to SAT success. And with that, oops, I'm going to actually let you share your screen.
All right.
If you still have the share controls, you can
take it. I do.
Just let me know when you want the polls put up there.
Okay. Well, if Michael is the only one, then that's totally fine. We can just put it in the chat.
Right.
Totally fine. Okay, great. Well, I'm excited because there's going to be a lot of people watching this afterward, and I think they can definitely benefit from it. So pretty exciting. All right, how to ace the SAT and ACT mini course. So excited. And as Victor was saying, I've done this for about 19 years, and we've seen tens of thousands of students raise their SATs as high as 700 points and ACTs as high as 9 points. Even gone to Ivy Leagues for free, National Merit Scholars. So I want to start off with the bad news to get that out of the way today. As it stands right now, 25% of students will drop out of college by the end of the freshman year. 50% will drop out after the end of the sophomore year. And really, when it's all said and done, there's only 1/3 of students who will actually graduate college. And so of those that graduate, 85% of them will have some kind of debt. And I know that Victor is all about being debt-free and teaching you financial literacy. So this really plays right into being able to have a debt-free degree. And the median debt for college is $100,000. Now, the average is about $36,000. And the thing about we as a nation are in a $1.7 trillion debt when it comes to college loans. And it takes the average student about 20 years to pay off the debt that they've accrued in a 4-year time frame. But let's get to the good news. The good news is that 85% of colleges will admit and give money simply based on your test scores. Why is that? Well, that is because colleges are based on national rankings. So the higher your test score, the more scholarship money you're going to get, because you make the colleges look good, they get more funding. And then when a college goes up on their rankings, they are able to attract those students who can pay full sticker price. So it makes them look much better. And also sometimes there's colleges that want to admit a very talented athlete who might just have the bare minimum to get in. So that's going to drop their rankings down. So now they're out looking for students with higher test scores. And so we're going to touch on today, when we're talking today, we're talking about not only the SAT, the ACT, which also will cover the PSAT, and even the CLT. If you don't know about the CLT, I'll talk about that in a moment. But the great news is these are beatable tests. So if you've taken the test before and you didn't get the best possible score, you're going to learn why today, and how you can raise your scores regardless of what your previous score was. Now, which one do you take? It actually doesn't matter. Every college will take the SAT or ACT. You can try them both. Both of them have a free test on their website that you can try. The 1/3 rule says that about 1/3 does a little better on the SAT, 1/3 does a little better on the ACT, and 1/3 does about the same. That's really based on more of a mental block. Used to, it was based on timing before the SAT was redesigned in 2016, because there were 10 short sections and ACT was 4 long sections. But now it's really more mental, because the SAT has 2 math sections and the ACT has a science section. So if you don't feel comfortable, think you're that great in one of those sections, then you might not think you could do well in the score. But the higher the score, the more money that you get. It's that simple. And it's the hoop that you jump through, but hey, it's the game and you learn to play the game. Now, every single college will take SAT or ACT, 100% of colleges, so it does not matter. And they are about 99% the same test. So in other words, there is a crossover of information that works on both tests. So if you're studying for one, you're basically studying for the other one. Same strategies are going to work. Now, they're both going to be used for college entrance as well as scholarship money. And if a college does prefer one over the other, then they will convert the score. So a 1340 SAT is the same as a 29 on the ACT. As a matter of fact, back in 2012, when David Coleman took over for the College Board, it was the first time in history that more students took the ACT than the SAT. So David Coleman hired ACT writers to rewrite the new SAT. So that's why you have very similar tests. Now, you'll notice right here the minor differences between the 2 tests. There's really not a lot of difference. There is no science on the SAT, but the good news is you don't even have to know 1 iota of scientific knowledge to beat the science section. It's really like the SAT reading section, and we'll show you that as we go along. Now,
is there any logic to that, Jean? Like why they didn't put it on there, or just doesn't matter, or what?
Well, they want to stand out. SAT and ACT, even though they're 2 different companies, they want people to think that, it's about science. So if you're really good in science, you'll do better on the ACT. That's not true at all. Or if you're better in math, you'll do better on the SAT. Not true at all. It's just they want to keep themselves differentiated, because even the writing section is called English on one and writing analysis on the other. So it's just the way they wrote the test. But the great thing, though, and this is what we're all about. We are all about free college. We hear a lot in these election years about certain candidates wanting to give everybody free college and all that stuff. I want to tell you that there's already free college. And I'm going to show you how to do that based on your test scores. But the thing about it, and it's not instant success. I mean, you can't shortcut the shortcuts. You've got to do the work. But it's better to put your time in now on learn how to take in a test then pay exponentially over 20 years to pay off college loans. So let's get into the reading section. This actually is the #1 hated section of the test. Most students hate the reading, and that's because if you'll notice on the SAT, you get 6 passages, 52 questions, 65 minutes to do it in. So about 75 seconds per question, plus the passages. Now the ACT is not even as generous. It has less passages, but it's got less time per question. This is why most students can't finish the test on time. It's logistically impossible if you approach it a normal way, like maybe you would do in English class. Okay, so we're going to get into the reading section now. How many of you second guess yourself or overthink the question? Most of us do this. We might pick A, think it's the right answer, but then we look at the others and we change it and we get it wrong. So I'm going to show you the 4 tricks that the test makers use to make you second guess yourself. And if you learn these, then you will stop doing that, hopefully. And this is especially true in what's called the line citation question. Now on the SAT, there are 5 types of questions and they're all answered differently. So this is my acronym for second guessing. It's called COAT, C-O-A-T. So they'll give you information that's completely irrelevant to the question. They may give you answers that are obscure, have a confusing relationship. Maybe they've added some additional information, or they may just simply be totally contradictory. Now, when you're reading a line citation question, your goal is not to look for the right answer because you can be tricked by the wrong answers. What you want to do is eliminate the wrong answers first. So if any answer choices falls under one of these COAT, C-O-A-T, then you can eliminate them, and that's going to ultimately leave you the correct answer that does not break any of these rules. You want to challenge every answer choice. What do I not like about this answer? Okay, let me give you an example. Adam's grandmother neatly packed 2 snacks for him in his lunch sack. He couldn't wait to discover their identity because he knew they were always unique and yummy. And then the question, why does the author mention Adam's daily routine? A, to show how poor the family was and couldn't afford a lunchbox. Well, this is an obscure answer because it uses words like lunch sack and lunchbox. So it is incorrect. Relay the grandmother's love for Adam. Now, this is a very tricky answer choice. A lot of students will pick this one because they're thinking, well, obviously she loves him. I mean, this woman is up at the crack of dawn every morning on Pinterest looking for unique snacks to give him, right? Well, you know what? We do not know the grandmother's motivation, and the question is asking about Adam and not the grandmother. So that's some additional information. Compare how a good lunch helps a student excel. So test makers like to throw in true statements. We know it's important to have a good lunch, good breakfast, helps you do better in school. But this answer is completely irrelevant to what the question is asking, but to reveal how he is Adam, loved his grandmother's treats. So do you see how you could make some of these answers fit if you tried to shoehorn them in or you tried to overthink them? And that's why you have to be careful. A lot of students will think, well, more than one answer could work. Well, it could if you are thinking that they could work. But these tests are objective. There's only one right answer. And that's why you have to eliminate the wrong ones first. Okay, so now what we're going to do for you as the audience, those of you who are watching now or watching later, hopefully you downloaded your handout so that you can work the problems. On your handout, I want you to work questions 1 and 2. And then once you work questions 1 and 2, then I want you to log in your answer for question number 1 in the poll. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. The poll will pop up. So as soon as you got your answer, then click on your answer for number 1. All right, do you have our poll? Our ABCD?
I think you're muted, by the way, if you didn't know.
Sorry. Thank you.
All right. Everybody have your answers out there?
Where's
on
my
the poll?
Looking for my yeah, let me get to my Zoom.
Let's see here. I think you
Oh,
I don't know if I can do I don't think I can do polls on my end.
Oh yeah, let me launch it. I'm sorry. We're not doing a poll, right? We're just gonna type in a chat or I don't know.
Whoops. We just needed to do poll. What is the answer to the question? Yeah, I can't see answers in the chat. So
Okay. Cool.
so answer for question number 1.
I had D.
Okay. All right.
I don't know
Good
how
job.
it's, I guess because
So Michael, did you put it in the chat or did you put it on in the poll?
I put it in the poll, but yeah, D.
Yeah, the poll didn't pop up for me for some reason.
That's
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Maybe because you're the host too, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how do I type in the poll.
That's okay. You know what? We're gonna ad lib. All right. So good job, guys. D is correct. Now, what's interesting about this is the italicized part at the top of a passage often holds a key to answers. And so in this case, it says the following passage is an excerpt from John Kapler's memoirs about growing up poor in rural Kentucky during the Dust Bowl. Now, what does this passage serve mainly to do? Explain John's elite status to his family. Again, this is contradictory because elite is opposite of being poor. Proclaim how the Dust Bowl didn't affect the South. Well, again, another totally contradictory answer because obviously Kentucky is the South. To refute how difficult times were in the 1920s. Well, again, refuting means opposite, and we know that it was a very difficult time. So all those answers were contradictory, but recounting John's life growing up, that basically means his memoirs. So good job, y'all. All right. Question 2, what did you get for this one here?
I got C.
Okay. All right, Victor, what'd you get?
Still reading through it real quick.
Did you download your handout, Victor?
No.
Busted.
I'm busted.
Yes.
Increased customization productivity. C.
Awesome. By the way, Ariel took my class years ago and she aced the test. So FYI.
Hey.
Yay. All right. So good job, guys. C is correct. So one thing, why did John Isaac Hawkins invent the polygraph? He wanted to open the first copy shop. Now, again, it's very confusing, kind of a relationship, because if you'll notice in the answer, it has the word first and first. They do that to kind of throw you off. So keep that in mind. Local draftsmen were demanding a new system. Well, this is an additional information. It does talk about draftsmen up there in the sentence, but it doesn't say anything that they were local, and it has nothing to do with them demanding. So that's some additional information. And modifying pictures was already a fast process. Again, totally contradictory. That's why he invented it, so that it would make things faster. And so that's obviously incorrect. So C, increasing customization. So the goal basically is you want to eliminate wrong answers first, because sometimes they might seem like they could be correct. Okay, now another type of question. There's 5 types of questions on the reading section. A lot of students want it to be a one-size-fits-all, like English. They want to, read the passage and then answer the questions. But if you do that, you'll probably get them wrong. So the vocabulary use question is where it'll ask you something like, what does the word help mean in line 4? Now, the great thing about these type of questions is you need to find out what kind of answer you're looking for. If you're needing a positive answer, then you can eliminate the negative answers and vice versa. Sometimes you're going to get reverse words like despite, not, unlike, in spite of, okay? And then sometimes you have what's called cause and effect words like because or when. So those help point you to the right answer. Now, the thing about when you're looking into test prep companies, a lot of companies want to teach you thousands and thousands of vocabulary words. That's a complete waste of time. There's 171,000 words in the dictionary, and only the test makers know which ones are going to be on the test. So the thing when it comes to vocabulary is these are logic tests. These are not about content. and how well you can answer questions under pressure in a short amount of time. So even if you don't know what a word means, it does not matter because they're not asking you to define a word. Okay, let me give you an example. By the way, this one here, I'm going to let everyone do this one. This is not on your paper, but I want everyone to read this and then we'll take a little poll. What does the word formative mean in line 12? So y'all read that, and then I'm going to ask you the answer. All right, since we have
myself out there and say C.
C, okay, C for Victor. All right, Michael.
Yeah, I'm going with C.
Go with C. Okay, Ariel.
I'll say D.
Okay, D. Okay, so C is actually the number one answer. It is wrong, but it is a number one answer. Okay, A is the number two answer, and B is the number three answer. Here's the key. When you have a vocabulary use question, you have to find out what is this question asking me. In this case, there is what's called a cause and effect word. In other words, the word because means something happened and there's a result. Because of what? Because of their flexibility. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a word that has to do with flexible. Creative has nothing to do with being flexible. A and B mean the same thing. And by process of elimination, D is your answer. Okay. And the thing about it is you don't even have to know what that word means. And by the way, it does mean flexible. So again, it's how they write the questions. The questions are purposely misleading and the wrong answers can be very appealing. So you have to know what you're looking for. Okay. So on your paper there, work your vocabulary questions 3 and 4. And then we will then log in your answer for number 3 and we'll go over it. All right. So I can't see the poll on my end. It's not popping up. So let's go ahead. What answers did we get, y'all, on this one here? On number 3.
I put B.
Okay.
Yeah, B.
Okay. All right. So what does the word lucid most nearly mean in line 16? All right. Good job. B is correct. Now, here's the thing. You'll notice up in the sentence, it has, they want to know what the word actually lucid. What does the word lucid most nearly mean? Now, it starts off with what's called a reverse word, despite. Despite means opposite. Despite perplexing lyrics, that's confusing, that's negative, which means you need a positive word. Now, knowing that we need a positive word, we can immediately eliminate any answers that are negative that we know of. Okay, we can totally get rid of C and D. Now, even if you're not quite sure what imperceptible means, one of the things that you can learn is that I am is a negative prefix, which means you can eliminate A as well, and that leaves you with B. So good job now. All right, number 4, what does the word shocked most nearly mean? What did y'all get on this one?
C.
Okay. Victor's still trying to catch up there.
Yeah, 1 second.
I just C as well.
Okay.
C feels like the right one.
Okay, so awesome job, guys. C is correct. So what does the word shocked most nearly mean? The photographer was shocked to find out his negatives were destroyed. Obviously, we need a negative word, so we can eliminate A, which is positive. Elated is positive, means excited. Now, B in French is a negative word, but it doesn't fit. And to infringe on something is to basically move it on your rights, somebody else's rights. And violated is also a negative word, which is very similar to be. And remember, you can't have two right answers. So anytime there's two answers that are similar in definition, both are wrong. And that by process of elimination, that leaves you with consternated, which con again is another negative prefix. Good job, y'all. Okay, now, one of the things on the SATs, ACTs, basically just about any test that you take is that the test makers try to stay very politically correct. So in other words, they're not going to offend anybody, okay? Which means if you see answers that are very strong, very opinionated, or negative toward a person or a group of people, they'll be wrong answers. So any answers that seem very radical without any room for exceptions, that will not be the correct answer. So that means if you see words like exactly, always, never, then those will not be a right answer. Because remember, we're looking for the wrong answers first, not the right answers. Okay, so let me give an example. Why does the author mention the perils of child fame in line 33? Line 33, okay? A, older girls learn better than younger girls. Okay, well, that's a pretty negative statement toward a group of people, which would be younger girls. Okay, children should never be in horror films. Okay, again, very strong statement. And all child actors end up in trouble. Again, some very opinionated. All right, but the correct answer is young stars often win awards over adult stars. So when you're looking for answers that are not radical, you're going to look for words like sometimes, or maybe, or usually, or often. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave this up here to show you the very strong words of like exactly and always. So we'll go ahead and work the problems on the reading problems, questions 5 and 6. And remember, you want to eliminate any answers that are strong, opinionated, or negative toward a person or group of people. And then log in your answers for number 5. All right, so we'll go ahead and go on. All right, guys, what did y'all get? I see I put it in the chat box, okay? All right, so good job, guys. B is correct. Is that what you got, Victor?
Yes.
What irrefutable fact does the author prove in his argument? Boys are always better in baseball than girls. Well, obviously, you can't use the word always to be correct because there's probably some girls who are better, right? Than some boys. So that's a negative statement toward a group of people. No girl wanted to work in construction. Again, you can't say that. You know, that doesn't leave any room for exceptions. And then none of the boys believe girls were tougher. So again, very strong statement. But there are at least 6,000 psychological differences. So, all right, good job, y'all. All right, number 6. What did y'all get on this one here?
D.
Okay. All right, D. All right, wonderful. Good job. What does the first paragraph mainly serve to do? Okay, good job. All right, so D is the correct answer. All right, so notice A, show how it never rains in the big city. Again, very strong statement. Proclaim that none of the drivers knew how to control a vehicle, or show that exactly 1/3 will have a wreck. You know, that's very somebody's opinion. You can't assume that. All right, but the morning news usually warns commuters. Okay, so good job, y'all. Very good. All right. Kahoot time. All right, so now we have a fun question.
All right, so I will, if you stop for a brief moment, Sharon, I will share my screen.
Okay.
Cool, thank you. I like that little exercise there, Jane. That's awesome.
Oh, it's going to get better.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. And even Michael's learning. I noticed that.
Yep.
So that's
all right. So with the way Kahoot works, you already know how we do it, Michael. I'm going to send over and anyone else feel free to participate. Which you already know all the answers, Gene. So, but I'm going to go in here as well. All right, so let's see, Kahoot.it. Enter your game pin, 502-6356. Michael M is in. The old man is getting in here too. All right, let's rock and roll. All right. Number 3, 2, 1, quiz. Which of these words are not SON acronyms? So, on the phone here, are not SON acronyms. What did I have? Yeah. I'm slow.
10. Oh man, clock is counting.
Connection. Hold on. Oops. I'm moving too fast. It's weird from this perspective, though. How much time do you get per question on an ACT math test or math section?
Are you doing these now? You're gonna wait till till this pulls up.
Yeah, we're gonna stop.
I haven't told him that yet.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. So, yeah. All right. So we're gonna pause here.
So now y'all know what the question is. Now they're gonna be on their alert.
All right, it won't let me stop. All right, so we're gonna stop right there and go back. Somebody already answered, so it looks like they knew already. Maybe. All right.
All right.
Let me stop sharing. I'll let you take over from here. I forgot we're doing one.
All right, no problem. That sounds like that is fun. Okay, share screen. All right, let's go back to where you're at. Oh, wow. So it takes me back to the beginning. I did not realize that. Okay.
Oh, did it?
No problem. It's okay. We'll go. Okay. Okay, so math. Now, whoops. Okay, so math. Okay, now the thing about math on the SAT and ACT and these type of tests is you don't have to be a math genius to ace the math section. As a matter of fact, a lot of students who are really good in math and maybe their number one subject often do very poorly on the test itself, not because they're not good at math, but because of time. You know, you get so little time per question. If you're spending 3 minutes on a math problem and you only get about a minute per question, you're going to burn the clock up. So when it comes to how much time you get, so the SAT gives you 2 math sections. One of them you're going to get basically 75 seconds per question, the other one 86 seconds per question. And again, the ACT gives you less time, which is 60 seconds per question. Now, one of those fun strategies that I teach, and I've actually been able to show this on national television, this really fun strategy, and that is to train your brain to always look at the last digits, whether it's multiplying or adding or dividing or subtracting. So for example, what is the product of these 2 numbers? Well, just look at the last 2 digits, 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So your answer will end in 6. Notice only one answer. So no calculations, no mistakes. See the math, don't do the math, and now you're done and you can move on to the next question. Okay, so always look at the last digits to come up with a quick answer. All right, I like that one, Victor. Pretty cool.
I love that.
Okay, love it. All right, so I'm going to give you 2 questions. Again, look at the last digits. Go ahead and work questions 1 and 2, and we'll go over them. So, and then let me know what your answer is for question number 1. All right. Very good. Okay. So good job, guys. All right. So 4-digit number is divisible by 3. And when 10 is subtracted, it's divisible by 7 and not 5. All right. Good job, y'all. D is correct. Now, you could work this out. There is a formula, and you could work all the numbers and do all that. But that's not what we want to do. We have so little time. And by the way, this is not a math test. This is a logic test using math as the medium. So we know by the question that the answer is not divisible by 5. So if we were to look at the last digits, we can immediately eliminate both A and B, because 0 and 5 is divisible by 0 and 5. So we can eliminate both those answers. And if we move over one number from the last digit, it says it is divisible by 3, and we know that 8 is not, and that means we can eliminate C as well, and that leaves us with D. So good job, y'all. All right.
That eight was the one that jumped out at me. I was like almost with C, and then I said, hold up, it's not divisible.
Yes, good job. You're Victor, you're gonna walk away today smarter than when you started, right?
Of course, that's what the point is. Yes.
That's right. Okay, what did y'all get for number 2?
I put A.
I got
Right.
A.
Super. So division is the opposite of multiplication. In this case, we know that 8 multiplied by something is going to end in 6. So we know 8 times 2 is 16, which of course is A. So good job. Of course, B, C, and D are wrong. Awesome.
8 is my birthday too, by the way. So I like that number. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So now you're going to love this one here. In the figure below, I'm going to give you examples. Let me go back. This is what I call clone invasion. Now, clone invasion is where the test makers, when they write a question and they come up with an answer, they have to create wrong, tricky answer choices. So what they often do is they'll take variations of the right answer to create the wrong answers to trick the students. Okay, but as a trained test taker, you use that information to your advantage. So in the figure below, a square is inscribed in a circle with a diameter S. What is the sum of the area of shaded regions in terms of S? Now, if you look at the answer choices, they all have a lot of similarity, or it's what I call clone invasion. Notice they all have an S square. They all have a minus sign. 2 have 1/2 and 2 have pi over 4. So the answer that has everything is the correct answer. And this is such a cool strategy that I can tell you a lot of fun stories about. But people have used this strategy on a lot of different tests, not just on the SATs and ACTs. One particular girl a lady I met in Missouri said her daughter used my program. She's scoring pretty perfect on the reading section. Math, she was just not overcoming like a 26. And she needed a 29 to get into a certain program. She's decided to go back to the program, my program, one more time. She decided to pick just one strategy, and any math question she did not know, she was just going to use this one strategy. That's what she was going to do. So she picked clone invasion. And so when she took the ACT the next time, there were 10 questions she did not know. She just used clone invasion. She ended up getting 7 to 8 of them right just by doing that. She went from a 26 to a 32, which is far above the 29. And not only did she get the program, she also, and the scholarship money, she also got into a program where there's 70,000 applicants and they only take 400, and her 32 got her into that program. So all by using one strategy. Okay. So we're going to use the clone invasion. So on your paper there, and by the way, the first math problem has 5 answer choices. This is ACT math. So go ahead and work questions 3 and 4, and then we will go over them. And then log in your answer for number 3. Okay. I see Michael's put in the chat. Great. All right. Good job, guys. Oh, I love it. And it's great. I can see the chat if I just click on it. Wonderful, guys. You guys are rock stars. Good job. So the correct answer is y'all are right. It is K. Very good. So again, now notice 3 out of 4 of them have 4 as a denominator. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 of them have A as a denominator. 3 out of 5 of them have 5 as a numerator. And 3 out of 5 of them have an RB as a numerator. And K is your answer. Good job, guys. Doing awesome. All right. So what did y'all get for number 4? Go ahead and put that in the chat box. Okay, got everyone. I see Ariel's answer. Okay. Not quite sure. I'm trying to look at the chat here. Y'all get your answers in. Awesome. Okay. Popping answers in there. Super job. Okay. Michael, did you get your answer in? Okay. Awesome, guys. You are doing so amazing. All right. Good job. So the answer is B. Okay. 3 have a 25, 2 have a 6, and the one with the most in common is B.
So
Good
that's
job, guys.
the one with the most in common is always in this particular.
In this strategy, yeah, it's not the only strategy.
Yeah.
A lady one time heard me speak, and she called me up. She ended up hosting my class in Cincinnati, but she said she was taking a German test online, and she said one answer had this word and another answer had this word, but one answer had both words. So she just goes, I just remember your strategy from the seminar, and I picked it and got it right. So
Nice.
but you know. Okay, now another thing when it comes to math is, you again, like I said earlier, the reason students, even very smart students, do terrible on an SAT or ACT is because the questions are purposely misleading, and the wrong answers can be very appealing. They're very tricky. They look like they're the ones when they're not. So especially the math, you have to really sometimes ask yourself, what is the question really asking me? Okay, so let me give you an example. Now this one here, I'm going to show you. This one's not on your paper, but I want to have y'all do this one. How many eighths is 6/16 minus 1/4? Okay, so now you could convert the 6/16 to 3/8 and the 1/4 to 2/8. So 3/8 minus 2/8. Okay, guys, what's the answer to the question here?
A.
A, okay. Victor?
I'm gonna go with A.
Ariel?
I would just D.
Okay, so answer
Yikes.
is not A. Answer is not A, because look what the question's asking. How many eighths?
Yep.
And there's only
Ah.
one eighth. Y'all see that? You see, that's not a math question. That is a logic question.
Yep.
Okay. You gotta remember, Ariel aced the test. So,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Maybe we should make her recuse herself so she
Oh,
doesn't
no,
answer.
you're all good. This is cool. This is
So,
cool.
but anyways, do you see that they're not asking you to work the problem out, and that's what they want you to think. And here's the thing, Victor and Michael and everyone. A 4.0 at one high school is not the same at another. Every school calculates their scores differently. A 4.0 at XYZ school is not the same at ABC school. Okay, you might, Michael, take really, really hard classes, very rigorous courses, and have a certain GPA. And then the guy down the street that lives down a couple blocks over, he goes to a really easy school, has an easy teacher, and he has also the same GPA as you. Not fair. So you look the same on paper. So when a college compares you versus the other guy, There's no way they know the difference. That is why a test like an SAT or ACT level the playing field. It's the same test for every student, because it's measuring what the one thing that we all have in common, and that is our critical thinking skills. So people aren't really mad at SATs. They are mad at what they reveal. They reveal that we're not all equal, and we live in a society that wants to make everybody equal. You know, should my 5'2" son play in the NBA? No. Okay. So here's the thing. So this is why as Michael knows this true, you study the patterns of the test. You can't study for this test. You study the tests themselves. And that's how you can do very, very well. Anybody can do well. I've had students who had severe dyslexia, dysgraphia, autism, still become national merit scholars. Okay. And learn, because this is a beatable test. Okay. So everyone on your paper, do questions 5 and 6. And here's the thing. What is the question really asking me? Okay. And then log in your answer for number 5. All right, see your answers coming in. Good job, guys. Good job. All right, so how many different integers n will make the following statements true? 6 is less than 4n, which is less than 10. A, good job, guys. Obviously, you guys are on it. You're doing amazing. This is, again, another question where you have to read very carefully with a critical eye, because it's not what you think it's asking. A lot of students will say, okay, but to make this a true statement, n has to be 2. 4 is less than 8, which is less than 10. Yes, that's a true statement, which is answer B, of course, which is wrong, because the question is asking how many different integers. So you guys are catching on. Awesome. All right. So answer A. Okay, number 6. What did we get on this one here? What is the least positive integer divisible by the integers 2, 3, 6, and 9? Okay. Okay. Guys are doing amazing. All right. So good job, guys. Good job. So D is correct. Now, so here's the bottom line. One of the things about the test makers is the answers are in ascending or descending order. So in this case, they are descending from the greatest to the least. But look at the question. It says, what is the least positive integer? Well, if you understand the order of the test questions, all you have to do is look at the least one, which is 36. And you know that 36 is going to be divisible by 2, 3, 6, and 9, and you are done. You know, a lot of students on the math, what they do is they'll test answer A, then they'll test answer B, then they'll test answer C, and just waste a bunch of time. But if you understand the order, then you know you can answer the questions very quickly. Okay, Kahoot time. Oh, all right. So we are going to stop sharing so we can pull out a question. Right, I wonder what the question is.
So we ran through that one question. So let me see here. Is the next one a math? I can't remember if we did.
No, it's not.
Okay, so yeah, I already botched that one up.
So points for everybody, just for
points
showing
for everybody.
up.
There you go.
A participation.
Michael, you're killing it out there today, buddy.
Yes, it's a participation trophy. Okay.
That's right.
All right. So let's go ahead. We'll go back and we'll go to the next section.
This is really good stuff, Jane.
Thanks. Thank you.
I can see how grown-ups taking LSATs and all these other type of tests could use this to their benefit as well.
Absolutely. And you know what? I've had students who've gotten free rides to law school. You know, people have used my program, not just with SATs and ACTs and PSATs, LSATs, GRE, CLEP tests, AP tests. CPA test, real estate test, the FAA pilot's license test, ASFAB. I could just list all these tests that people said, listen, the same strategies work on these other tests, which I know nothing about. But the thing about it is most standardized test companies, when they write a test, they all follow the same patterns. They have to have one objective, indisputable answer and several distractors. And if you understand that, then you can approach the test, no matter what test it is, and say, okay, which answers are the trick ones? If I can get rid of those, then I'm going to be left with the correct answer. All right, so the writing section on the SAT is where you get 4 passages, 44 questions, 35 minutes to do it in. So 47 seconds on the SAT. Now the ACT is called English. It's the same stuff. They are not even as generous, and they only give you 36 seconds per question. So you can see that logistically, it is impossible to answer these questions and read the passages in the time frame they give you if you do it the normal way. But remember, every question can be answered very quickly. In many cases, 30 seconds or less. And so this is what we teach you so that you can beat the test and have time left over. So the first strategy that I'm going to teach you is what we call think vertically. And that is when you have a question where you read where the text is the same, the only real difference is punctuation. Let me show you. It's kind of like a reverse cloning. So you do read you don't have to read the passages, but you do read the underlying part. And the part, the whole sentence, and the underlying part, if there's nothing wrong with it grammatically, then you're going to pick 17A, no change. If there is something wrong with it, you have to find the answer. But now notice how the words are the same, but the punctuation is different. So instead of thinking linear, think vertically. So 1 has a comma, 2 do not. 1 has a comma and 2 have a period. Okay, y'all, you guys are trained test takers by now. So which answer has the most in common with the other answers?
You said the most common with the other answers?
Yes. Which answer choice has the most in common?
D.
B.
D. Okay, do you see how what I did with here? I showed you 1 has a comma. If you think vertically, okay? So
are we talking about number 1?
Oh, no, it is on that
no,
question.
no. On the sample I'm showing you.
Oh.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. So D, does everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. All right, so go ahead and work the problems on your paper for think vertically on questions 1 and 2, and then put in your answer for question number 1. All right, good job, guys. Very good. Okay, so B is correct. Again, just use your pencil and just think vertically. 2 have a possessive S, 1 does not. 2 have a comma and 1 does not. And there is your answer. Good job, y'all. Okay, number 2 in the writing section. What did we get on this one here? Remember, if there's nothing wrong with it, you pick no change. If there is a problem, you got to find the answer. All right, so good job, guys. You are doing amazing. All right, B is correct, okay? So again, think vertically. 2 have a period, 1 has a comma. 2 have no punctuation, but 1 has a comma. 2 have no punctuation, 1 has a comma. And 1 one has a comma and two do not. So B is correct. Awesome, guys.
That's
Doing
nice.
great.
I like that.
All right. Now, on the English and writing section of the test, there are two words that are always wrong, 100% wrong. So when you see either one of these words, you can eliminate those answers because pretty much you can go to the bank on it. They're not going to be a right answer. And those words are having and being. Now, the thing about the test is a lot of people say, well, you got to learn lots of grammar and elementary rules all over again. That's not true at all. There are 13 recurring problems on the test. And what I've done is like, I've made acronyms for all 13 problems. Falls under the word inside answers. Every letter stands for something. One of the most common problems that is going to show up. Okay, in this case, I is ing words, especially having and being. Okay, so many constituents complain about the mudslinging commercials made by candidates being arisen during political campaigns in a voting year. Now, even if you read that, that would hurt your ears. It just sounded terrible. But in all honesty, you didn't even have to read it. If you just looked at the underlined part and you saw the word being, then you could automatically know the answer cannot be A, no change. Look at our answer choices. C has being, D has having, and B is correct. Okay. So, because you get so little time per question, if you don't know the patterns, then you're going to just, waste a lot of time. All right. So go ahead and look at your questions on your paper on questions 3 and 4. And remember, having and being are always wrong. Awesome. You guys are doing awesome. All right. Very good. All right. So G is correct. Having is in the outline part, so we can eliminate A, no change. B has being, and C has having. So super. Good job. All right. Number 4. What did y'all get? All right, doing awesome, y'all. Awesome. C is correct. Am I going too fast for you, Victor?
I'm going too slow for you. No.
No. I want to wait. I want to make sure everybody has. If you're working, I want to make sure you got it in too.
You said it at the top, like that's second guessing. I'm just like double confirming that that's, I'm following the strategy. So yes.
All right, good job. So C is correct. So again, underlying part has having. We can eliminate A, no change. B has an ing word, which tends to make it wordy. And D also has having, which is also incorrect. So good job. Awesome. All right, now, one of the things on the writing portion is a lot of students do terrible because they tend to use a lot of transition words. And most students have completely forgotten the definitions of them. So if you do not know the definitions, you cannot answer these questions correctly. So you have to make sure it fits the logical relation to that sentence. I'm going to show you. All right. Many recent studies have confirmed that Alzheimer's disease has a strong root in the overabundant use of glucose for fuel for the brain. Furthermore, doctors have given the disease a nickname of diabetes 3 because of the correlation to insulin resistance found in many elderly patients. Okay, now, the thing about it is the online portion has the word furthermore, but then the answers have like notwithstanding, nevertheless, thereafter. So if you don't know the definition of these words, there's a really good chance you're probably not going to get it right. In this case here, the online part is correct. Furthermore means in addition. And in addition, doctors have given the disease a nickname of diabetes 3. So the key is understanding the definition. So let me show you the most common, I call this notwithstanding words defined. In other words, you must know these words. So if your sentence needs an addition, you are going to, it's probably going to need a word like furthermore or likewise or moreover. If it needs a consequence, you're going to look for words like accordingly or therefore. If it needs a sequence, thereafter or after all. And then in contrast, notwithstanding, however, or nevertheless. So now another key is if you see an answer that has the same words, like let's say we know that notwithstanding and however mean the same thing. So if an answer starts with however Susie went to the store, and then another one says notwithstanding Susie went to the store, those mean the same thing. That's why you have to know the definition. So mainly maybe it should say therefore Susie went to the store or whatever. So the key is that's why you have to know your definitions. So these are the I'm gonna leave the screen up here. So go ahead and work your problems on questions 5 and 6 in the writing section, and I'll leave this up here for you to refer back to it for the answers. Okay, once you got your answers, go ahead and put it in the chat box. Okay, I think everybody's just about got their answers. Let's go ahead and go over here to number 5, okay? All right, so there are several current breakthroughs that are showing great promise for Alzheimer's patients. For instance, near-infrared light treatments that penetrate through cranial probes and notwithstanding nasal applications, okay? Well, again, knowing, a correct answer is D, so good job, y'all. Notwithstanding also is the same, means the same thing as however and nevertheless. It means in contrast. And the word likewise means an addition. So good job, y'all. Very, very good. Awesome. All right, go ahead. Okay. If you haven't worked number 6 yet, go ahead and work number 6 and put your answer in for it as well.
See what you did there, Ariel. Okay, I got you.
he's cheating off your paper.
No. I was like, why she put that? And then I had to relook at your. Okay, that makes sense.
No, it's
like, I wouldn't cheat off me. I don't know what I'm doing.
No. I'm not cheating on her. I got it. I'm but I'm like,
no. That is why, Victor, that is why it's so important to know those transition words, because they use them all the time. And most students don't know the definitions or the difference between them. And so they very easily get these questions wrong. So, all right, good job.
I guess the way I looked at that one was, just since we're talking through, is like, I looked at it as, and in addition to her looking over the fence, she also got hit by the rock. But
that's right.
It makes more sense to say therefore she was.
That's right. So basically, absolutely no. Therefore, it's a consequence. So furthermore means an addition, and so does moreover, and finally is a sequence. But there was a consequence of the action, and therefore this happened. So good job, guys. Good job. Okay. No, you're doing great. And again, you've only heard this one time. So all right, Kahoot time. All right. So let me stop sharing, and you can.
All right. This is fun. Let's see here. All right, Jyla. Hey, do your best here. I know you just jumped in. This is some really good stuff. We do have the recording too, so if your parents want to go back and get it, this is absolutely powerful stuff here. So go ahead and log into Kahoot. I think mine is still active. Hopefully we won't have to, because there's been a delay reconnecting. So I'm gonna hit next and see if it pushes us forward. Oh, darn it, I got no points. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. Number 3, which word does not mean in contrast? Is it 2 or 3? All right, cool. Hey, I got some points now.
All right.
Yeah, we did this. All right, acronym COAT.
Okay.
So the
All
acronym
right.
COAT, wrong answer patterns, is also found in which?
Oh, that's the wrong one. That's
Is it?
yeah. That's for science.
Okay,
Oh,
all right,
no.
hold up. So we're going, don't answer anybody.
Yeah, I only do one question after each one. I thought you were going to do one question after each section.
That's right. All right, so I'm stopping the screen. There you go.
Okay. That's okay. If you, I could have done more questions for each one, but
It's all right. Sorry, it's cool.
it's all good. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. Now that we've got through the writing section, now what I want to do is go into right into science on the ACT. Now, again, like I said earlier, for those who just joined in, is that it doesn't matter whether you're good in science, bad in science, hate science, love it. If you've never had anatomy, physics, biology, it does not matter. The science section on the ACT is basically like the reading section on the SAT. It's about your reading comprehension. Now, there are 5 types of questions on the ACT science. You've got one about the passage itself only, about the chart only, maybe a question that relates to both passage and chart, maybe something about the chart trends, or they may have 2 charts in there. Now, there are 40 questions, 35 minutes to do it in. So again, what are we talking? 43 seconds per question. I mean, there's no way logistically you can do this if you do it the normal way. And again, that doesn't even count reading the charts or the graphs or the passage or anything. So very little time to do the questions in. But again, as long as you understand the strategies, the shortcuts, the patterns, then you can do very, very well and answer questions quickly. Okay, so this is taken from the ACT. Which of the following best describes how the 2 scientists explain how craters are removed from Europa's surface? Now, you'll notice at the top, there is an excerpt from Scientist 1, and there's also an excerpt from Scientist 2. Now, down here in the answer choices, you've got Scientist 1, Scientist 2, and then a combination of water, wind, and sublimation. So if I go up here to Scientist 1, it says that the liquid water oozed into the crater. All right, so if I go down to Scientist 1, notice there's only one answer that mentions water. So you are done. You don't even have to do anything else, and you can just move on to the next question. But let me confirm it for you. Under Scientist 2, it says that the ice continually sublimes, which is sublimation. B is your answer. And did you have to know anything about science to answer that question? Not at all. Okay. All right. So on your paper, one of the things you got to remember is that the COAT acronym, COAT, that we learned in the reading section still applies to the science section. There are still going to be answers that are completely irrelevant, obscure, have additional information, or just totally contradictory. And that will help you because, like I said, the ACT science is like the SAT reading, okay? And then the ACT words, sometimes they number theirs differently. Instead of A, B, C, D, they do F, G, H, J, or something strange like that, okay? So go ahead and work your 2 science questions, and then put your answer in for question number 1 in the science.
Are we supposed to have a passage with question 1?
There's an excerpt there. There's an excerpt from the passage.
Oh, it's on the page 7 at the top, Michael. I know.
Oh, okay.
Hold up. Where's that?
Sorry about that.
You're good.
All right, y'all put your answer in the chat when you are through. Okay. All right. I see your answers coming in. Great. Good job, guys. Good job. I'm telling you, y'all are rock stars. All right. Good job, guys. Very, very good. So H is correct. Okay. Now, again, because this science section is like the reading section, it means they put the answers in the same place every time. As a matter of fact, usually you can skip 75% of the passages as long as you know where the answers are found, because it's logic, not content. So in the question, it talks about magnetic field and Europa. When we go to the part of the passage that has magnetic field and Europa, and there's your answer, salty. Okay. So H is correct. Now, you don't have the full passage, but if you were taking the actual test and you had the full passage, you would know that there's nothing about nitrogen mentioned. So that's additional information. It does talk about ice, but it's irrelevant to what this question is asking. And then there's nothing about molten magma. So good job, y'all. Okay. All right. Number 2. What did y'all get on this one here? Okay, you guys are doing amazing. Okay, good job, guys. So C is correct. You know, again, it talks about scientists too. So you just go to the passage that mentions scientists too, which is their excerpt from here. It talks about the similarities, and then notice it says features. So we know we're on the right track right here in this part of the passage. And it says what would be least likely, okay, to exhibit. All right. So notice down here it says few meteorite craters, which is C. So which is correct. You know, again, there's nothing about pressure ridges. That's additional information. Cracks is contradictory. Dark bands is contradictory. So C is correct. Good job,
and
guys.
as far as you know, Jean, this pattern follows historically, right? I mean, because that's amazing. Like, to really be the way that you just went through that thought process. Like number 2 is super easy. I mean, so is it really that consistent through all?
No, it is, because here's the thing, Victor. A standardized test has standardized questions and standardized answers, which means that's why I said earlier, you can't study for these tests, but you study the tests themselves. So if you're a test maker and you have to write a standardized test, it means you have to follow the exact same patterns on every single test. Otherwise, it's no longer a standardized test. And that's why you can go to the bank on this. Okay. That's why taking many practices, I'm sure Michael has done this, taking lots and lots of actual practice tests is the key. Once you learn the strategies, then you've got to practice, because after a while, you're going to start seeing the patterns. One great story, I have a lot of stories, having done this for a long time. The first time I ever taught in Shanghai, I taught in May, and then I went back in October. Well, one of the young men, his name is Nathan, his testimonial is on my website, but he was a sophomore when he took my class. And then in October, he raised his SAT 600 points. His PSAT, it was 59. That was the old scoring, which is like 590 now. And I asked him, I said, Nathan, tell me what you did. He says, well, Mrs. Burke, after taking your class, I did what you said. I went back through the videos several times. I took lots of practice tests, but here is the key. He said it wasn't until he got to the 15th practice test that he started to see the patterns. They started to jump out at him. It just became sort of like, oh my gosh, light bulb. Okay. He ends up getting a full ride to Baylor, which is over $200,000. Now, what if this young man would have stopped at the 14th practice test, or the 13th, or the 12th? Okay. So yes, there is no instant success. This is a program, not a pill. You got to do the work. You got to internalize information, and you've got to solidify the strategy so that you can apply them appropriately. And that takes time, but it could pay off in hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarship money for you. So we'll move. Yes, we'll move on since you already did the Kahoot thing question. So we'll move on. So, but wait, there's more. Okay. So I was able to show you a few little strategies from different sections of the test, but honestly, it's just the tip of the iceberg, because the reading section, there are 3 types of passages and 5 types of questions, and they're all answered differently. You can learn to skip 75% of the entire passage and still get every answer right. You can learn why the question number 1 is always a trick and what to do with it. The math, you can learn to answer every question in 30 seconds or less without a calculator, and learn how to see the math and not do the math, learn how to find the fast answers. And then the writing section, I didn't show you this, but there's a strategy that occurs as much as 75% of the time where you can answer the questions in 10 seconds. Okay. Plus we go through, again, how to skip the passages and the 3 types of questions. Now the essay, even though it's been mostly omitted, back in January, they announced that they're omitting the essay. It is not actually omitted. It is still going to be offered on SAT school days. There are still colleges that desire the essay. You should, whenever it's offered, you should always write the essay. Optional is not optional. And there's several reasons why, but the main reason is if the college admissions counselor is on the fence about your application, they're going to use the essay as a determining factor. So I've written 30 proven templates that you can use. You could literally walk in the door of the essay and have 75% of it written in your head. And all you have to do is fill in the other 25%. And it actually doesn't even matter what the topic is about. And you can get a high scoring essay. And I teach acronyms on how to answer the questions very quickly to jar your memory. So here's the thing. Anybody listening now or later can beat these tests. These tests are all about logic. They're all about your critical thinking skills. And yes, some people are very logically minded. So they're a good test taker. It's kind of intuitive to them, but sometimes a few things can really put you over the top. And some people might be the other kind of test taker, which is known as the rule follower. And those are the ones who stress over everything and they second guess themselves and they overthink everything. But anybody can beat this test, but there is no instant success.
So
Accuracy before.
Michael May had put something here in the chat. I think
sure.
when we were talking about the essay, he said he thought it was discontinued. Is that what you're talking about?
So it is mostly discontinued. Okay, you've got to read the fine print. Yes, back in January, the SAT announced that we are omitting the optional essay, but you've got to read the fine print because it is still being offered. If you take the test on what's called SAT school days, the essay is still going to be available. There are certain states that are still going to have the essay, and then there are certain colleges that are still going to require it. So just because it's mostly omitted, you always want to write it if you have that ability to do that. So thank you for that question. But it's going to always be accuracy before speed. You can't answer questions in 30 seconds or less when you first start this stuff. It's going to take you time to internalize information and self-correct your mistakes. And as my friend says, you cannot shortcut the shortcut. All right, so bottom line is your ultimate SATs and ACTs can determine where you get to go to college and who is going to pay. And according to the government website, students who have a college degree, a 4-year bachelor degree, can make $1 million more in their lifetime than someone who does not. I'll show you that website. It's right here. It's called collegescorecard.ed.gov. On average, college graduates earn $1 million more over their lifetime. Okay. All right. So, and just to kind of give you an idea about free college, here are just a few states that will offer you anywhere from full tuition up to a full ride, even beyond that plus. And what I mean by plus means they could also offer you grad school money or honors dorms or spending cash. So you'll notice right here, Alabama State will give you the Presidential Academic Scholarship on a 26 ACT or a 1240 SAT. Now, some of these may have other factors, like they may count in your GPA. Some of them may be more automatic. In Washington, D.C., you can go to Howard University with the Bison STEM Scholar on a 26 ACT or 1250 SAT. So you kind of get the idea of the variations that you can get with depending on your test scores. Now, notice right here, Liberty Christian will give you $5,500 on a 28 ACT or a 1310 SAT. But look, if you just bump up your ACT 6 points or your SAT 220 points, now you're talking all your tuition paid for. Or Utah State will give you $1,350 or everything full ride. University of Mississippi, $1,500 on a 25 ACT or 1200 SAT, or go up 7 points on your ACT or 250 on your SAT, and that's nearly $24,000, and that's a year. So here's the thing, and my average student in many cases goes up about 250 points just the first time through our program. And you're only going to retain a small percentage of what you hear the first time. So you have to hear the information again and again to really solidify it. Next time you go through it, you pick up something you missed the first time. So test prep is an investment. There's a lot of programs out there, many programs. And when you're looking into test prep, you have to find out, what do they teach? If they teach you more math and more vocabulary and grammar, or a bunch of content, or reteaching high school over again, that's a red flag. If they're not teaching you that this is a logic test and the questions are designed to trick you and that you have to learn how to discern them and basically break the code, that's what you want when it comes to your test prep company. So the 5 P's of success are: proper preparation prevents poor performance. Y'all can put that on your refrigerator, okay? So what has College Prep Genius done in the last 19 years? We have taught kids on how to cut their time in half. We show you not only why the right answer is right, but why the wrong ones are wrong, so that you can correct your mistakes. We've had kids raise their SAT as high as 700 points and ACT 9 points. Just, and a lot of people will use it as an elective. Like we teach a lot of schools, we teach a lot of homeschoolers. And so you can use, in many cases, you can use the test prep as an elective on your transcript. So this is my little infographic here on good test taker versus bad test taker. It doesn't really matter where you fall, whether you're a good test taker, more logically minded, or you're more of the rule follower. Anybody can learn to do well. And it's really a matter of learning the strategies, learning the patterns, and then just practicing correctly. And the more you do that, the more you lessen the anxiety, and the more you gain that test maturity. We have 6th and 7th graders who do our program. Sometimes 7th graders score higher than seniors, and they haven't even been to high school yet. So here's the thing, for all the students that are going to be listening to this, timing is the killer of opportunities. You cannot get time back. So the sooner you start, the more time there is to improve. As you get older, as you get into high school, as you get toward the ends of high school, you're going to have more obligations, more responsibilities. Maybe now you've got more homework. Maybe you take on a part-time job, play sports, club, church. You got so much going on that your schedule becomes very maxed out, and then your opportunities are going to start to decrease. So you want to start early on test prep. So like I said earlier, here are some of the tests that people have used our program on. Not because I know anything about real estate or the FBI or the ASFAB. I know nothing about that, but I do know that test taking should be a class in every school, because kids are going to be tested all their life, not just to get into college and get scholarship money. That's great. But maybe if they go into grad school or law school or med school or at their job someday, they're going to test them.
FBI test.
I'm sorry?
The FBI test.
So fun story. Yes. So my daughter, when she was at home, she was, we were learning back in the day. We didn't know anything about these tests. We just knew that you get free college. And my son was already National Merit Scholar. So he already got free college. And so I made my daughter take an SAT every day straight for 3 weeks. Michael, be glad you didn't live in my house. Okay. So SAT to my daughter was a 4-letter word. All right. She didn't ever want to hear that word again. All right. So after getting scholarships and all, Fast forward a few years, she goes to grad school. She gets recruited by the FBI while she's still in grad school. Now, to become a special agent, less than 5% of people who apply actually become one. Well, she got her letter, and one of the things, you have to jump through a few hoops, like take a polygraph and take a physical and all that. And one of the things that you have to do is take an FBI test. And she calls me on the phone and she says, Mom, you're not going to believe this, but the FBI test is like the SAT. I'm like, girl, you got this. And now she is a special agent. So yes.
That's amazing. I wish we had one of the students that's been in here the rest of the week. She said she would probably miss today. Her name was Zaya, and we were talking about careers yesterday, and she put down FBI agent. So
yeah,
I'll make sure that you know, I share this information with her.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and here's the thing, you know, we've won like 21 unsolicited awards. These are some of the awards we've won. Even being voted in the bestschool.org. This is a public school website that gets about 1 million hits a month on it. Lots of testimonials on our website. You can go to our website at collegeprepgenius.com/testimonials. You can watch actual videos of people who you know, raise their score hundreds of points and get in free college. We don't pay for any testimonial. These are all given to us voluntarily by the people. All right, so it is our Kahoot time. So got a question for us, Victor. Let me stop sharing.
Yep.
All right.
All right, let's see what we got here. Let's bring up the Kahoot. Oops, that's the wrong one. All right. So yeah, we didn't answer that one. We're just gonna keep moving. Let's see next. Oh, this one was the poll. Yep.
All right.
So after this mini course, I now am more motivated to beat the SAT, ACT, have more confidence than when I started, want to learn more strategies to ace tests, all of the above. All of the above.
Awesome.
This is good stuff. I threw one more in there.
All right.
This. Before taking tests, I should get a good night's rest and eat a meal. True or false? Maybe you could speak a little 2 minutes or a quick second on that, of the importance of being.
Oh, absolutely. So the week of the test, the day before the actual test, whether you're taking SAT, ACT, whatever test you're taking, you don't want to do any test prep. You want to just rest your brain. Hopefully you've been practicing for weeks and months. The day before, don't do anything. Have everything ready for the class the next day. You don't want to be scrambling or stressed out on anything. And then what you want to do is you want to, you know, leave early. You know, have all your supplies, your pencils, your calculator with fresh batteries. You always bring a snack, bring some water. Definitely bring a sweater or dress in layers, because what happens a lot of times is these schools will keep the rooms very cold. There's a lot of kids taking a test. And so you don't want to be shivering and stressing out how cold you are when you're trying to concentrate on a test. So definitely always bring some kind of layers. You can always shed them if you don't need them. And, you know, just walk in with knowing that it's not the end of the world, knowing that if you don't get this best score, it's okay. You can take it many more times. Most colleges will super score. Most colleges will take the highest scores from different tests. So if you take the math, you get a really great math score on the October SAT, but you get a better reading on the December, then they'll pull those together to give you the overall higher score. So
that is super awesome. Very, very much. Jyla, I know you came in a little bit late. Is there any question that you may have or anything just related to what you did here? Yeah, anything at all? Okay, she says, no, sir, no problem. And I asked her privately about her SAT. She hadn't taken it yet, so I'll make sure that we share this information with her and her parents. So when they are ready, they can move forward. But I'm gonna share my screen real quick as we wrap this thing up. And just to see if anybody, Michael, you know, any questions, sir? Anybody have any questions at all?
No questions for me.
All right, good stuff, man. I appreciate your participation. And then the good news is, well, if you don't mind, Ariel, can you drop in the survey? In fact, Jean, we are going to email you a quick survey as well to complete, just as one of the contributors, like 5 questions, if that. Of course, the students, you all need to complete day 3's questionnaire for us. So she's got that dropped into the chat. Make sure you get that knocked out for us. And then, hey, no homework per day. So we're good to go. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about business plans and how to start a business. So what I would really like you to do is kind of think about the stuff that you enjoy. You know, we talked about it yesterday. What are the things that you really are passionate about? What are the hobbies that you do now? There may be a way to monetize that, turn that into a business. And so tomorrow, be a lot of fun. We'll talk about ways that young people, teenagers, which are a whole lot of entrepreneurs nowadays, they're making money online and doing all kind of stuff. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, but definitely looking forward to you all joining. And that's pretty much it for the day. I appreciate everybody. Jean, any closing thoughts, comments, suggestions?
No, you know, we are in a lot of public and private schools in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as well as other states. And, you know, if you don't have our company there at your school and, you know, we'd love to come there because we have seen great success with kids, you know, not only here in Dallas-Fort Worth area, but, you know, I've also taught in 5 different countries as well. So definitely, I mean, and a lot of schools will, you know, bring in companies that teach the wrong stuff. And so you're wasting a lot of time and a lot of money on something that's not going to help you on the real test and get you that scholarship money. So the goal, of course, is to get the high score and get basically a full ride to college, graduating debt-free.
Absolutely. Well, I shared the link in the chat. Michael, Jila, if you all want that, collegeprepgenius.com is where you can find out more about Jean and this fabulous tool that she's helping students across the world to increase their score. So we just are so appreciative of you today. Again, I wish there was a whole lot more engagement, but I promise you this recording will be shared with some folks and you'll be getting some people reaching out to you behind this. I mean, even an old man like me can learn some tips about testing. And so I'm appreciative. And I got on my bucket list to be an airline pilot, to fly a plane. So when I take that aviation test, I'll be coming back to you. So good stuff, folks. Thank you for participating today and have a wonderful Wednesday. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks, Jean.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Jala.
Thank you guys.